he was going to be able to use me in a great way. I didn't know what it would be, but I knew I was going to walk again, and I knew that the Lord had a special plan for my life. So I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Go Steelers! Woo! And I am the daughter of a football coach. He is 73 years old and still coaching football today. So if you know Pittsburgh, it is a sports town. And in our family, I was raised in a Christian home, which I'm so thankful for. And in our family, it was faith, family, football. So we were really serious about football and sports, and I was such a big tomboy growing up. I loved playing any sport that I could get into, but when you're 5'10" in 4th grade and you have a size 10 shoe, I was really destined for basketball. So that's what I did and I loved, and when I was 8 years old, I actually had a tumor in my fibula bone, and it came back 6 weeks later. Then they had to take out most of my fibula bone, and I didn't think that I would ever be able to walk ever again. I was in a wheelchair for all of 2nd grade. But the amazing thing was that because of that strong faith that my parents helped to instill in me at such an early age, fast forward later that year, part of my nerve came back. They were actually able to teach me how to walk again. It was a miracle. It was amazing. And I knew I needed to play basketball. So from that moment on, I slept with a basketball. I did everything basketball. If you saw my 4th grade school picture, I had a bowl cut. Wasn't cute on a 5'10" girl in 4th grade. And I had a little turtleneck sweater that had a basketball. I wore a gold chain with a basketball. I was wearing, Deion Sanders cross trainer shoes, and I was holding a basketball. And I thought if there was no confusing that this was for me. This is what I love to do. So growing up, I played it as much as I could, and I ended up earning a full scholarship to play at Division I Canisius College. In high school, my dad, who I mentioned, coached football. He was such a strong man of God and such an influential part of our community, and many young men looked up to him, and he actually was integral in starting a Fellowship of Christian Athletes huddle group at our high school. And I loved being part of that group with my dad, and really just seeing him. He's a really strong Italian man, and he sounds like the Godfather with his voice, and seeing his humility and his integrity as these young men and women would meet in a public high school during our club time, and we would pray together, and we would talk about things that athletes are dealing with having to be disciplined and the sacrifice that you have to make when you play sports, and things that come up with your team, and injuries and stuff that's going on at home that's also making it difficult. So seeing how my dad handled that, and how he was able to influence for such amazing change, and really help to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, and really share hope and joy for those young men and women, really lit a fire in me, and it helped me to want to have that same purpose in my life, to be able to use sports, which I love so much, but also be able to use my love for Jesus in a way to help people that are broken and hurting. So when I went to Canisius, I thought that I would just right away be able to find a community of other believers and a church, and I was so actively involved in our church and our youth group, and I just thought, okay, I'm going to go there, I'm going to get plugged in. Happening in college is that we started out with a great freshman year. We ended up winning the MACs and going to the NCAA tournament. We played Duke at the Dean Dome in the first round of the NCAA tournament. And for Canisius College, we're a mid-major school. To be able to fly a private jet and go to the NCAA tournament, that was such an amazing experience, one that I will never forget. So I was really on cloud 9. Then all of a sudden, going into my sophomore year, we had a chance to go to Italy and play, and I was doing really well, playing really well, and then injury started to come. And everyone that goes into college to play, you have been a really good player at your high school level. So everyone that's coming into college is expecting to play. Everybody wants to play, everybody wants to start, everyone wants to have a great career. And when that doesn't pan out the way that you planned, it can be really difficult. And for me, struggling with injury was one that was so frustrating. And when you're on a team, also your coaches are focused on the X's and O's, and they're focused on winning. That's what they're paid to do, is to win. So they're focused on the team, and the other teammates that are playing who are not injured, well, they have to focus on practicing and getting better themselves. So when you're injured, you really feel like you've been set apart and you are outside of the team, kind of looking in. And it can be a very lonely place. And that's what was happening for me as I was struggling with injury and not really getting back into playing, and I wasn't getting healthy the way that I wanted to get healthy. I definitely hit rock bottom. The surgery that we planned to get me to a better place, be able to get back on the basketball court, it turned out to not be successful in the way that we were hoping for it to be. So I'll never forget the day that I got the news that my basketball career was over. And up until that point, that's who I was. And for many athletes, you can identify with, I was Nia, who was good at basketball. That's just who I was. And for a while, I thought that's all who I was. I had forgotten what the Lord had made me to be, what He calls me, the value that I have that's separate from sports. And so I got lost for a while. And so I remember the summer before my senior year is when everything came to a head. It was just one thing on top of another. And again, not really having someone that I could go to talk to, not knowing where to turn, not having that strong group that I had in high school with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and other people that knew what you were going through and that could relate. Not having that, I really felt trapped and alone. I remember praying to God that night saying, Lord, I love you. I know that you're there, but life is too hard. I don't know what to do. I don't see a way out. I don't see a plan and purpose for my life. Maybe you can see one, but I can't. I decided to try to end my life. And that night I took an entire bottle of painkillers, and enough that I should not be here today. And it is only by the grace of God that I am here able to speak with you today, that He spared my life. And I remember praying that night thinking, Lord, if you have a plan and purpose for my life and I wake up tomorrow, then I know that there must be something more. And I don't know how I'm going to get out of these situations. I don't know what is out there for me or what's going to become of it. But maybe you do. And sure enough, that morning when I woke up, I remember turning right away, still in a daze, and turning to my Bible and open it up to Matthew 10:39. And it says, if you cling to your life, you will lose it. But if you lay it down for me, you will find it. That really changed for my life, and also knowing that I wasn't alone. There had to be other athletes that are feeling this same way. And that's what ended up birthing the FCA huddle at Canisius College. Of seeing a need, of knowing that there's other athletes that are either injured or athletes that aren't getting the playing time that they were really hoping for, and they're struggling mentally with that, of starting one game and then you sit out 10 games and not sure, did I do something wrong, what's going on? And so I wanted a place that we could just come together, and we might not play the same sports, but we are all united under a common thread of athletics. We love sports and we love Jesus and want to honor Him with our gifts and talents that we've been given. And that's when we started FCA Canisius. But at the end of the day, what is missing and what we can really bring us together is saying, yes, we love sports and there is so much more, that we want to have a heart for the Lord and how He created us to be. And this is one way that we can get together, is through advancing the gospel through sports and being positive coaches. And really our mission is to and through coaches, to their players and to their athletes. And I'm sure you can think of coaches who have had a negative impact on your life. I certainly can. And the impact that a negative coach can have. Think about the positive coaches that you have had in your life. I know for me, they were also pivotal. Those coaches that said, Nia, you're going to get through this, and really spoke to me and encouraged me and believed in me. And that's really what we want to see happen here in Western New York, is mentoring to coaches, equipping them, empowering them to love others and to help our student athletes to be able to achieve who God made them to be. So we're so excited. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and we encourage you, if you don't know about the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, go online to buffalofca.org, read our mission, read our vision, read our values, and check out all the programs and the upcoming events and ways that you can get involved. We'd love for you to be a part of this, and also our Facebook page, and just help us spread the word so that athletes and coaches can really use their gifts and abilities to make a difference.